run that changed everything started on Wednesday, November 13, 2019. It picked up a load at the UPS depot in Houston the day before, around 9 in the morning, and pointed the nose west toward Phoenix. 40-foot Dr. Ivan, red seal gleaming like fresh blood, stuffed with brand new iPhone 11 Pro Maxes, 16-inch MacBook Pros, and iPad Pros still in the plastic. Insured for north of $319. Xerith, sweet cargo. Sweet enough that the company slapped a GPS units on it, one I could see on my phone, and one ghost tracker only the insurance guys and the dispatcher knew about. When Mike slammed the doors shut, he gave me that shit-eating grin and said, "Dr. Safe, brother. We lose that box, well know exactly where to send the flowers." I laughed it off. I shouldn't have. 14 straight hours behind the wheel. By 2/7. My eyes were burning, head bobbing like one of those dashboard dolls. 10 more minutes and I'd be asleep at 70 miles an hour. I pulled off at mile marker 19 on I-40, right where New Mexico bleeds into Arizona. Truckers call it dead stop. No streetleted worth a damn, no cell service, no bathrooms, just for sickly sodium lamps flickering, like they were about to give up the ghost in a rusted sign that reads NOSERV ICISNEXD 87 miles. Desert wind screaming across the flats, cold enough to crawl inside your bones. Only 3 other rigs in the lot. I killed the engine, double-locked both doors, yanked every curtain shut, checked the little Benjamin mini folder in my Carhartt pocket, and slipped a mini Maglite into my back pocket for good measure. Then I reclined the seat, set the alarm for 5:30, and passed out. I slept hard. It was the last time I ever slept easy in my own truck. 3:51. The whole rig lifted, just a hair like someone stepped onto the passenger side running board. My heart jackhammered against my ribs. Then came the sound. Soft, patient, metallic. Click, click, somebody working the lock with a pincette. Before I could even sit up, the passenger door ripped open. Freezing air flooded in. A gloved hand clamped over my mouth, slammed my head into the sleeper pillow. Stale cigarette stink filled my nose. A second shadow vaulted in me, driving into my chest, duct tape ripping off the roll. Rip, rip. Rip, 3 tight loops around my wrists. I drew a knee back to kick and took a boot to the gut that folded me in half. Air gone, lights popping behind my eyes. First 30 seconds they never said a word. Just heavy breathing and the wet tear of tape. They dragged me to the cab floor, face smashed into the filthy mat. One sat on my back, zip-tied my ankles until my feet went numb. Cold steel kissed the base of my skull. A gravel whisper in my ear, "Make a sound and you die right here." My Peterbilt 389 roared to life. That Cummins growl I'd known for 12 years now belonged to someone else. I was just cargo. The truck shot forward into the night. Up front I heard them, calm as Sunday drivers. Public GPS is dead. What about the hidden one? Fuck it. Less than an hour to the line. Well, dig it out and dump him with the rest. I lay there sweating ice. Every truck stop ghost story they'd ever laughed at came rushing back. Cartel crews working the I-40 corridor, hitting electronics loads, picking this exact stretch because it's the farthest from any patrol base. 7 drivers gone in the last 2 years. Not one ever found. 45 minutes later, the truck turned off pavement onto red dirt. They hauled me out like a duffel bag and flung me into my own trailer. My forehead cracked against a stack of iPhone boxes. The doors boomed shut. Chains rattled. Lock engaged. Pitch black. The smell, new cardboard, fresh plastic. Money almost made me puke. I clawed at my jacket pocket. Knife still there. They D-patted me down fast and missed it. Took me almost 12 minutes of shaking, sawing blind. But the zip tie on my wrists finally parted. I started tapping the wall in SOS 3 short, 3 long, 3 short. Over and over, praying some other driver might hear it above the wind. Nothing answered except the howl of the desert and the crunch of tires on caliche. Another hour and a half. I counted every second on the green glow of my Casio. Thought about my wife and kids back in Houston. Wondered how long before someone even filed me missing. For the first time in 20 years I prayed. Really prayed. Then brakes locked hard. I flew forward, skull smacking boxes again. Outside, chaos exploded. Screams. 3 round bursts. Glass shattering. Tires hissing flat. Then the loudest voice I've ever heard. English and Spanish both. Lasting from a bullhorn. U.S. B-O-R-D-R-P-A. T-R-O-L. D-R-O-P-T-H-E-W-A-I. P-O-N-S. H-A-N-D-S-I-N-T-H-E-I. R-O-R-W-E-L-I-G-H-T-Y-O-U-U-P. One of the robbers wailed high. Wait, hit. Rotor blades thundered overhead. White spotlight swept through the gap under the doors. A few more pops, then silence thick as death. 30 seconds that lasted forever. Chains rattled again. Doors flew open. A wall of light blinded me. For muzzle in my face. A-J-N-D-S. L-E-T-M-E. S-E-I-J-N-D-S-N-O-W. I threw them up. Voice shredded, don't shoot. I'm the driver, help me, man. Please. They yanked me out into the cold. My legs gave out. I dropped to my knees in the sand, sucking air. 2 bodies on the ground, not moving. 6 patrol trucks boxing us in, light bars painting the desert red and blue. A Black Hawk settling 200 yards off. Dust swirling like a tornado. An older agent with silver stubble knelt. Cut the ties around my ankles. You good to walk, son? I nodded. Calden stopped the tears. Later the IC agent filled in the blanks. The ghost tracker pinged it for 12 When we went 27 miles off route, they scrambled 3 ground teams and the helo out of Lordsburg, tracked us 112 miles into ours 18 minutes, and ambushed them on a known smuggling trail 9.6 miles from Mexico. They found things in the trunk of the robber's chase car that still wake me up some nights. The old agent looked me dead in the eye and said, "Real quiet, you're the first one we got back breathing. The other 7 we never even found the pieces." I stood there in that freezing desert, staring at my shot-up trailer, and felt the cold go all the way to the marrow. I don't overnight in empty rest areas anymore. Every time I roll past Lordsburg on I-40, no matter how tired I am, my knuckles go white on the wheel. I still carry that same Benjamin. There's a long fresh scratch on the blade now earned in the dark. Cutting myself free. Some nights, running empty through mile marker 19, I see another lone 40-foot Dr. N sitting off by itself. Cab lights off. I slow down, thumb hovering over the air horn, the old courtesy between drivers. Then I notice the back doors cracked open just enough. Black inside, and the faintest sound drifting out across the wind. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. 3 short. 3 long. 3 short. November 2023. I took a load out of Milano headed for Munich, 40 tons of hot-rolled steel plate. 20-13 thick. Stacked to the sky under a green Tarpana standard taut liner. The tractor was a 2014 Volvo FH16 750 I'd just bought cheap off a Polish driver in Verona. He practically threw the keys at me, muttering something about Brenner being too much for an old man now. I laughed. Thought he was just getting soft. I should have listened. November 17. 20 to 30th. I started to climb from the Italian side. Light snow was already falling. The dash read 7C and dropping. Only 1 lane open, because they were rebuilding the Europa Bridge. Trucks had to take turns threading the needle. I crawled uphill in 8th gear with every light on the red blazing fogs. Low beams, roof bars, corner markers, lit up like a Christmas streak rolling through the Alps. The worst corner on the whole pass, it's at exactly 13-17 meters. We call it the Death Hairpin or Europa Brücke corner. Rock wall on your right. 200-meter drop on your left. Guarded by a guardrail that looks like someone's garden fence on a bad day. That night a crosswind was howling and the snow hit the windshield like buckshot. 1:15. It just cleared the hairpin by maybe 50 meters and started easing downhill when it happened. I lifted off the throttle and the whole rig jerked backward. Hard. I stomped the pedal, nothing. Air pressure gauge needle slammed to 0. I yanked the parking brake, it screamed like a banshee. But 40 tons of steel doesn't care about screams. The trailer kept pushing, sliding us backward on black ice. I had half a second. I cranked the wheel hard right, hugging the rock face. The cab smashed into stone boom. Left windshield exploded, headlights died, blood poured into my eyes. But the trailer was still going. I heard rubber howling on ice, then silence. Dead silence. I didn't dare breathe. My heart felt like it was trying to punch its way out of my chest. I tilted the mirror. The entire 40-ton trailer was hanging over the edge. Only the enormous duals on the fifth axle were still on pavement. 8 centimeters of asphalt showing under the ice. 8. The guardrail was bent outward like warm spaghetti. Below that, nothing but black. Every heartbeat made the chassis groan, metal crying like it was about to let go. Snow thickened, ticking on the roof like a countdown. I fumbled the phone out with numb fingers. 1 bar of signal, flickering. I hit 120 Austrian emergency. Hello, help truck hanging off Brenner Pass. Kilometer 48 Italian side, 40 tons, 10 centimeters left, hurry. The dispatcher's voice was, I scum, sir. Do not move. Do not start the heater. Do not open the door. Heavy rescue out of Indrix is rolling. 2.5 hours. Hold on. 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours frozen in place while the cab cooled to 12°C. I sat statue still. Hands welded to a steering wheel slick with blood and frost. Eyes locked on the mirror, watching those last 2 tires tremble on the brink. Snow buried the windshield. All I could hear was the soft plink. Plink, plink of flakes on the roof, each one a hammer blow inside my skull. I thought about my wife and kids. I thought about search teams fighting a twisted wreck a week later when the spring thaw finally revealed it. I prayed, longer and harder than I ever had in my life. Just before 4. Faint yellow dots appeared far below. Then more. Then a whole constellation climbing the mountain. 3 heavy recovery units rolled into civilian MA and TCGS rigs and 1 olive drab Austrian Army Scania with a 100-ton crane. 15 men in high-vis orange. Headlamps turning the cliff daylight white. The team leader, Marcus, big Austrian with a lumberjack beard, tapped the window and gave me a thumbs up. I managed a nod. Words weren't happening. They worked like a special forces unit. Explosive bolts anchored the MANS to the rock. The Scania lowered its hook and snagged the trailer frame. Guy's belly crawled to the edge and slid giant air cushions under the chassis. Millimeter by millimeter they winched us back. For solid hours. At times the snow was so heavy all I could see was white light in the slow, agonizing creep of those tires inching towards safety. 5:48. First light. I heard the loud chains clank and felt the trailer finally slide those last few centimeters onto solid road. When the final wheel rolled half a meter clear, the entire crew erupted in cheers and started pounding the hood. Marcus opened the door and dragged me out. My legs folded like wet paper. I sat in the snow and cried like a child. The old Volvo had a crumpled nose and a few frozen air lines, but she fired up and limped to the shop under her own power. Austrian police kept my dashcam footage for training. Marcus told me later. 22 years doing this job. That was the closest I've ever seen. 8 centimeters, my friend. A grown man's hand. 8 centimeters between me and 200 meters of air. I still drive the Brenner. Same old Volvo. But every time I approach that corner, my hands go cold before the wind even hits them. No more rules of steel. No more feeling invincible. Just fear, real and honest. I keep the photo the crew took once we were safe, a wall of white snow with one thin black stripe of asphalt peeking through. 8 centimeters wide. Some nights I stare at it and think if those tires had slipped one more hand width that night, nobody would be telling this story. Every time I roll past the hairpin now, summer or winter, I drop a gear, crack the window, and whisper, just loud enough for the mountain to hear. Thanks, man. 8 centimeters. The odor rest stopped 1022nd. I was running a fixed lane for one of the big German electronics firms, Berlin, she's in Warsaw. 3 or 4 round trips a week. To keep my tachograph hours legal without wasting time, I always overnighted at an empty dirt lot on the polished bank of the Oder, exactly 8 kilometers east of the sub-ice Frankfurt Bridge. Local Polish drivers went pale every time I mentioned the place. Don't sleep there, man. It's bad. I just laughed. The spot was perfect hard ground, no mud, a single sodium light burning yellow all night. Even a portable toilet left over from some road job. 10 minutes from the warehouse. Roll in, shut down, wake up on time. It crashed there dozens of times. Nothing ever happened. Until the night of October 28. Light train all afternoon. By midnight the fog came down so thick the headlights just died 10 meters ahead, swallowed by milk. I parked at 22-45 MANTGX 18.480 box truck, curtains drawn tight, cracked a 0 alcohol to Sky E, climbed into the bunk. Before I killed the cab light, I remember thinking, fog like this, nobody's coming out tonight. Just past 2 I woke up, not from noise, from cold. A cold that had nothing to do with the weather. It started deep in my chest and crawled outward like frozen fingers. The same cold I once felt standing next to a fatal wreck on the Autobahn, when the air itself feels wrong. I lay perfectly still, eyes shut, telling myself it was the beer, an empty stomach, anything. But the cold only sharpened, and then I felt it, someone standing right outside the truck. No footsteps, just one long, exhausted sigh. Barely audible, pressed against the passenger window, like a face resting on the glass, breathing out years of sorrow. I sat bolt upright, snapped on the little bunk light, parted the curtain less than a centimeter. Outside, a wall of fog, the yellow lamp making a dull coin of light on the wet ground. At the edge of that coin stood a woman. No flowing white dress, no horror movie cliches. Just an old dark green railway raincoat, the kind Polish track workers wore in the 90s. Soaked through, clinging to her like wet paper. Short hair plastered to her cheeks. Head down, hands buried in the pockets, perfectly still except for a faint, constant tremble. The kind you get when you've been freezing for hours. I figured hooker junkie, someone who'd wandered over from the woods across the river. I cracked the window maybe 5 centimeters and tried my broken polish. Hey, you okay? Need help? She didn't answer right away. Then, slowly, she lifted her face. Young, early 20s at most. Eyes sunken into black pits, lips purple. Then she spoke, voice hoarse like it hadn't been used in decades. Take me home, please. I died here. I froze. Not because of the words, because the words didn't come from her mouth. They bloomed directly inside my skull. Her lips never moved. I slammed the window, locked the door, killed every light, and burrowed under the blanket like a kid. heart hammering so hard I thought the bunk was shaking. Then I heard it. Slow, sodden footsteps squelching in the mud, circling toward the back of the trailer. 3 soft knocks on the rear door. Pause. 3 more. Not knuckles. Metal on metal. The unmistakable ping of a ring tapping steel. I lay there, dead still, for almost 2 hours, barely breathing. When the sky finally turned gray and the fog thinned, I opened the door. The lot was empty. Not a single footprint in the mud, even though it had drizzled all night. Only one thing remained. On the trailer's roll-up door, dead center, 3 perfectly parallel scratches, about 30 centimeters long. Shallow but razor clean. The kind a ring would make if someone clung to the door while the truck was moving 70 miles an hour. Between the scratches, carved tiny, no bigger than a pinky nail, the letter W, backwards, like it was written from the inside. I snapped a photo and sent it to Dorek, my Polish mechanic buddy in Shisin. He went quiet for a long time. Then one message: that's my little sister, 1998th. She jumped into the river right where you park. We never found the body. I never spent another night at that stop on the Oder. Not because I'm scared of ghosts. Because some drowned souls never get to leave the water. The 3 scratches and the backwards W are still there on the door. I won't let anyone paint over them. When I wash the truck, I just wipe gently around that spot and whisper, so low only the river can hear her. I'm sorry, kid. Maybe she never wanted inside the trailer at all. Maybe all she wanted was for someone to remember she was ever alive.